I've let my sister-in-law interview me about being a birth mother, knowing my answers wouldn't be exactly what she was looking for. My husband's little sister Kayla is 22 and thinks she knows everything. She had her daughter at 17 and almost gave her up for adoption, but decided to keep her instead. Ever since then, she's been on this whole anti-adoption crusade, scrolling through TikTok videos all day about how adoption is basically legal kidnapping. She's studying social work in college and wants to help mothers keep their babies so adoption becomes extinct or whatever. The problem is, she needed to interview a birth mother for some assignment, and I'm the only one she knows. I gave birth when I was 20 and placed him for adoption. It's not some deep, dark secret, but I don't really talk about it much either. When Kayla asked if she could interview me, I said sure. Big mistake. She shows up to my house last Tuesday with this whole setup. Recorder, notebook, fancy pen like she's some investigative journalist. Her questions were loaded from the start. She kept calling him my own baby, with this weird emphasis, asking what could have changed my mind, if I had any regrets, all that stuff. The worst question was about skin-to-skin contact. She'd read some study about how holding your baby right after birth creates this unbreakable bond, and she wanted to know if I would have held him knowing that. I told her the truth. I have zero regrets. If I had to do it over again tomorrow, I'd make the exact same choice. And no, I wouldn't have held him even knowing about skin-to-skin, because if I had, I would have kept him, and his life would have been absolute garbage. Her face went white. She started scribbling notes super fast like she was trying to write down every word. I kept going because she asked for honesty, right? I told her I wasn't some selfless angel putting his needs first. I was living with my abusive ex-boyfriend who hated that baby because it wasn't his. We had people coming in and out of our apartment doing drugs, having sex, whatever. The place was disgusting. My ex would have hurt that baby just to hurt me. Kayla interrupted me, saying I couldn't know that for sure. She said if I'd been offered resources like housing assistance, childcare, therapy, I might have turned my life around. I laughed. I told her she could have given 20-year-old me a mansion, a nanny, a therapist, and $1 million, and I still would have gone back to my ex, because I was rebelling against my parents who were also abusive, and my ex was everything they hated. That baby wasn't going to magically fix me. I explained that I went from one abusive house to another, and I was too busy being angry and destructive to change for anyone, even an innocent baby. I told her that keeping him would have made me a monster because I knew I wouldn't sacrifice for him. Loving him wasn't enough. She started arguing about adoption not being perfect either, like that somehow made my point invalid. I told her, yeah, maybe adoption wasn't perfect, but it gave him a chance. Staying with me gave him none. Then she asked the question that really set me off. She wanted to know why I agreed to the interview if I wasn't going to give her the answers she needed for her paper. I said because there are times when adoption is the only option, and pretending otherwise doesn't help anyone. Some birth mothers aren't tragic heroes who were failed by society. Some of us were just train wrecks who did the right thing for once. She slammed her notebook shut and said I was making her work harder because everything I said went against her thesis. She said I was making it sound like adoption was always the better choice. I told her I couldn't lie to make her assignment easier. She packed up her stuff and left without saying goodbye. Later that night, my husband got a text from Kayla saying I sabotaged her interview on purpose and that I was heartless. He texted back that she came to me for honesty, not validation for her preconceived ideas. The next day, she called him crying, saying her professor might make her start over because my answers didn't support any of the anti-adoption arguments she wanted to make. She said I should have warned her that I'd be so blunt about it. My husband told her that's exactly why she needed to hear it. Not every birth mother story fits the narrative she wanted to push. Some of us made hard choices that saved our kids from worse situations. She hasn't spoken to either of us since.